Lived in Virginia Beach all my life, with the exception of a few years. I lived in Wisconsin. Um, Got into wrestling back in 1978 at Virginia Beach Middle School. I was a middle school wrestler over there with Coach Capps and Coach Jenkins. Um, had a little issue with a bully in school, and first thing he said was, there's two sports you can play that takes care of bullies. One's football, one's wrestling. And so played football with him for a little bit, but wrestling seemed to be more fun, so got into wrestling. And was a B team wrestler at the time, because we had over 35 to 40 kids in the room. And of course then the next year I graduated up to go to First Colonial High School back in 1980, and played the band, as well as was a B team wrestler there, because they had a lot of great kids in that program. Never started out to be a great wrestler until after I got out of school. I went to transferred the next year for my last 2 years at Cox High School. And of course I was behind a state champion who won the states 2 years in a row, so I was a good wrestling dummy. But it makes it so much better for you, and it makes you a better life learning lesson. And wrestlers bond. And so once I got out of high school, I got accepted to go to University of Maryland for a football scholarship, as well as to wrestle. And it took a first game of the season, took a devastating blow to my one knee, and kind of tore the football season up and wrestling season for college. And of course I met my wife at Cox, so we became a family as soon as I got my bad injury and got into wrestling, and seeing what we could do about helping the state with wrestling, with all the groups that were involved. Of course, you had Amateur Athletic Union, the AAU. You have Virginia Challenge. You also have Virginia USA Wrestling and National High School Coaches Association. I took a referee in there, started to become a referee, as well as go to camps. Had 3 sons, of course. One played baseball, and my 2 middle and youngest ones wrestled, one at Cox, one at Great Bridge. The one at Cox was a good wrestler, but was just small and never made it his greatest sport idea. But yet my baby son Joey was kind of more like the prima donna in it. I mean, he taught me a lot about wrestling growing up, and a lot of moves, because he learned from a lot of guys like John Smith and Wade Chalice and Jack Spates, Ray Simons from Virginia. Worked with Steve Martin from Old Dominion for 7 years. I just won actually me and my wife have just won the Wrestling Hall of Fame for the Amateur Athletic Union. Hall of Fame, we were inducted in with Chris Bono, Dan Elsley, and it's an award that is for somebody who has donated and put more than 15, 20 years of their life into the sport of wrestling, as well as Amateur Athletic Union. And we just got our 20-year award 2 weeks ago for sustained superiority for being involved with the AAU for the 20 years. We've won a lot of presidential awards and a lot of awards for doing a lot of tournaments.
I'm Darlene Grainger. A friend of ours, Mike Newburn, was the president of AAU Wrestling for a while, and actually taught me how to pair, and I started pairing. I started being the copy girl for the Disney Duels, which is in Florida. We have about 160 teams down there that wrestle in Disney. I like the kids, of course, and mine used to wrestle, so it gave me something to do, so I didn't have to go nuts watching him wrestle. It gives them self-esteem. It gives them a chance to learn how to lose before they win. When they're 5 years old, you think the world was over when they lose, but they have to learn to win. So